This is Steve Ridgel, and last Sunday my friends Joseph and Angela got married. Now, you may have, if you've watched many of my videos here or looked at my blog over at Ridgel's Originals, steveridgel.blogspot, you've probably seen about Angela and Joseph. Joseph, he goes by Joseph, name's Joseph. They got married last Sunday, and I want to tell you why. Now, Joseph became a Christian before he was incarcerated, and he spent several years in jail, but he stayed faithful. Came out, and boy, he got involved at Hillcrest and has been bringing people to Jesus. And one of those he baptized was his girlfriend slash fiance, Angela. Angela was baptized about a month ago, and we just did their wedding. And I tell you how we did it. The church did their wedding for them. It was really sweet and special and an amazing thing. But I want to spend a few moments this morning telling you the 3 reasons that Joseph and Angela got married. And I think they're pretty good reasons for all of us to think about why we got married, why we stay married, and for anybody thinking about getting married, here are 3 pretty good reasons to get married. Number 1, they loved each other. You'd like to think that's pretty basic to any kind of relationship, but I know a lot of people that get married for all sorts of reasons, and it isn't always because they love the one they're getting married to. But Joseph and Angela love each other, and that's a good reason to get married. At some point, you decide, let's do our life together. You're the one, I love you. So I think that's a good basis for any marriage. But number 2, and this one really impressed me, number 2, they didn't think it was right to live together if they were going to be Christians. So when Joseph was pursuing Jesus and when Angela became a Christian, they talked a lot about we shouldn't live this way if we're going to follow Jesus. Now, I admire people that take their Christianity that seriously. I know a lot of people that say, hey, I want to follow Jesus, but I need to be clear. I'm going to keep living this way. I think this is how God's going to love me anyhow, even if I don't do what he says. And so they have all these preconceptions about becoming a Christian. I'll do it on my terms, not God's terms. Well, not Joseph and Angela. Boy, when they bought into Jesus, they started really looking at Scripture and saying, we don't think we should live this way. And so they approached us and said, we need to get married. I love that. But here's the 3rd reason, and this one really struck me too. It wasn't a negative, it was a positive. They kept saying, we want to honor God in our relationship. You know, it's really easy to fall into the I'll be a Christian in the don't do that camp. I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that, I shouldn't, I can't, I won't. There are things we shouldn't do, obviously, as Christians. And I admire Joseph and Angela when they said we shouldn't live this way. But I admire even more, here's the positive thing to do. Let's honor God by living the way he asks us to live. I really admire that about Joseph and Angela, and I think that ought to be a lot more of the driving factor. Now, I'll just tell you, I'm much bigger on what we are than what we aren't. I mean, I think churches ought to spend a lot of time talking about who we're for and not just what we're against. So I'm pretty partial to that kind of thing, but I love Joseph and Angela for processing that. So, 3 great reasons to get married and stay married. You love each other, you shouldn't live together if you're not married, and you want to honor God in everything you do. And I really admire Joseph and Angela for living out their faith in a really dramatic way. So we're glad they got married. We're enjoying having them as newlyweds among us, and I love them for honoring God and each other. So this is Steve Ridgel saying, thank you, Joseph and Angela, for teaching me more about loving God and loving marriage.